What do you guys think? Who would you rather see host an episode of Saturday Night Live? If you had to choose between Candace Owens, Bridget Macron, how do you say her? I don't know. Candace Owens, Bridget Macron, or Conor McGregor? I don't know why I threw in Conor McGregor. I mean, I already kind of saw all of him, so I wouldn't mind seeing him again on Saturday Night Live. You think Owens is racist? How could how could Owens be racist? Hey, anyways, welcome Linda Lee Law. Welcome Linda Lee Law. Thank you for your comment. You think Owens is racist? I'm pretty liberal with free speech, to be honest. So I mean, like free speech is a slippery slope, you know. So I don't like though when Candace Owens says stuff and then when we say stuff back, then we get like reported or we get hated on. Like literally, Candace Owens, when she was saying the French president's wife looks like a man, I said, "You're right, Candace Owens, but so do you." then, then the next thing you know, all of her supporters, all the Candace Owens people's like, "How dare you throw back at Candace Owens what she threw at the French president's wife?" Candace Owens is allowed to accuse the French president's wife of being a man, but how dare you say or even suggest that Candace Owens could even be a man as well? So it's like hypocritical, right? Not only that, I get called names every day. I get called a woman, I get called a man, I get called people think I'm transgender. I'm not transgender. I am a man. My voice is just like this. I don't know why. Well, first off, I also I work as a I don't work sort of as a translator, but I'm trying to become a translator. So I speak multiple languages every day. I speak Russian, speak German, I speak a little bit of Spanish, but my main languages are Russian and German and English, of course. So when you speak all day and your voice becomes harsh and coarse. So right now I'm just working at a bookstore, but my long-term goal is to become a translator eventually. So I'm working every day on my languages, my language skills, and I have to talk all day. So when you talk all day, it makes your voice hoarse, you know? So, but yeah, I've been gay bashed. People gay bashed me and attacked me before. Um, but like I don't go around crying every day like the victim. Like I was the victim, but I don't go crying about it every day. But what I don't like is Candace Owens. First off, she's like support her freedom of speech, but she's not supporting everyone else's freedom of speech. That's the issue that I have. So I am the first one to support freedom of speech, but then you have to support everyone's freedom of speech. So especially if Candace Owens tries to say that the French president's wife looks like a man, well, I think that we could also say Candace Owens. Anyways, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm questioning everyone at this point. At this point, I'm questioning, like, this is so shocking that the French president's wife is a man. It's so shocking. Now I look at all women. Now I'm paranoid about all women. Because if the French president's wife could be a man, and Jesus, France is full of supermodels. When I heard of, before I saw a picture of the French president's wife, when I would think of the French president's wife, I would think she's probably some supermodel. So hearing that the French president's wife's a man is so shocking that it makes me like wonder, question all the women now, question everybody. So Candace Owens is fair game. I mean, that would be the perfect plot twist. She's exposing women as men, but really she's a man herself too, you know? So that would be a big plot twist, right? So it's not really against Candace Owens. It's just now I'm shocked that I'm questioning all women, right? Is that a man? Is that a man? Is that a man? I'll tell you what, Conor McGregor is definitely a man, and he is a man that I mean, I kind of already saw all of him, if you know what I mean. He got those pictures of him on the internet. You know which pictures I'm talking about. I can't say specifically, but can Conor McGregor is a man, and I would like to see him host an episode of Saturday Night Live. So, I mean, I don't think that they could ever have Bridget and Candace on the same episode. That would be explosive. Like, imagine the ratings if they had advertised that they're going to have Candace Owens and Bridget Macron, Bridget Macron and Candace Owens on the same episode of Saturday Night Live. Like, that would be so explosive. Like, that would be crazy. Like, people, like, I would actually watch Saturday Night Live, and I haven't watched an episode of Saturday Night Live in like 4 years. And I would watch that episode if Candace Owens and Bridget Macron was going to be on the same episode. So, but I don't think Saturday Night Live would have both of them because it would be too explosive. I mean, just to have one of them would be pretty edgy, to be honest. Like, just to have Candace Owens and or Bridget Macron, either or, would be really edgy. So, what stuff you say I know nothing about? I'm a viewer just like you, buddy. Who's Benny Kavanaugh comes in and says, you should do your research before you open your mouth about stuff you don't know nothing about. I'm a viewer like you. I'm just as confused as you are. I was shocked when I found out that the French president's wife was a man. So you're acting as if I'm coming here like Mr. Know-It-All. No, I'm coming here as a person who is shocked, just like you. Like I said, when I first thought of the French president's wife, I figured, I assumed she must be some supermodel, because in France, they're reigning supermodels. Like, France is like the number one country of French supermodels, right? So France has so many supermodels. So I just assumed the French president's wife was some supermodel. But then I looked at a picture of of Bridget Macron because Candace Owens pointed and said she's a man. I'm like, what? Candace Owens, what are you smoking? And then I looked at a picture of Bridget Macron. I'm like, oh my God, that is a man. Like, that looks like a man, that walks like a man, that talks like a man. That's a man. So I was just confused, I was just as much confused as you. I'm not coming in here asserting any claims. In fact, I'm trying to make this a funny situation and bring the comedy and say, hey, let's turn this into an episode of Saturday Night Live. That would be pretty funny. So I just wonder who would be more hilarious on Saturday Night Live. I think Candace Owens would try to make it more political. Although the French president's wife, I really don't know her. I mean, the French president's wife, I don't know if she's like a funny type of person, if she's a serious type of person. I looked at one interview she did because I was really curious to see her speak French and English. But I couldn't gauge. She seems like more like a funny type of, like a comedy kind of person. Candace Owens, I think she could go either way. I think Candace Owens could be funny, but I also think Candace Owens might try to insert her political agenda on the episode of Saturday Night Live. So I'm not sure what would go down there. Now Conor McGregor, oh my God! I mean, I just Conor McGregor, I could see him everywhere. I mean, I mean, if Conor McGregor, but yeah, Conor McGregor. Anyways, but Candace Owens and Bridget Macron, they would be explosive on Saturday Night Live. If they hosted an episode of Saturday Night Live, that would be epic. Especially if Bridget Macron brought her husband, Emmanuel Macron, that would be epic. I could just see them making jokes about France, like the whole episode of Saturday Night Live, just non-stop jokes about France. Jokes about France. Like, I could just see Saturday Night Live just going to town on France. And then Candace Owens, if she hosted Saturday Night Live, I think the Saturday Night Live cast members would be afraid of her. I think they might actually they want to roast her, but they'd be afraid to. You know what I mean? I kind of get that feeling from Candace Owens. She's kind of like she gives people a lot of material to roast her on, but at the same time, if you were in a room with Candace Owens, You know what you know what I mean? Like I get that feeling. Like I wouldn't want to be in a room with her and tell jokes about her at the same time. So I don't even know if Candace Owens would like be down for Saturday Night Live. She'd be like, no, you know. I mean, I think Candace Owens is definitely, she does have a comical side to her. She does put a lot of jokes in her videos, but she's also very serious politically. She has a lot of strong political views. And like, Jesus, if Jesus, if Candace Owens like got into a fight with the cast members of Saturday Night Live, I could see that happening really because Candace Owens is so opinionated with her views that I could just totally see her getting into a fight with the cast members of Saturday Night Live. Although on the other hand, Bridget McCron, I mean, she slapped the you know what of her husband on the plane. She slapped her husband, Bridget McCron. So Bridget McCron too is apparently very explosive. But I don't know. Maybe she just Bridget McCron was just having a really dispute with her husband. But maybe she's really not a violent person. Although she did slap him. So I mean, but she didn't like. She slapped him in like the girly woman kind of slap. She didn't like hurt him. Like I've seen women hurt men, so like so she didn't really slap him. Like she did the kind of like the soap opera slap. You know the soap opera slap. Bridget McCron did like the soap opera slap. It wasn't like a slap to like really hurt him kind of slap. So yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know, Bridget McCron or Candace Owens or Conor McGregor. I wonder who. I hope they invite one of those three to Saturday Night Live because lately the guests on Saturday Night Live sometimes they're really boring. Like I don't even know who those people are. Like some comedian, some up and coming comedian. Like, but yeah, Candace Owens, that would be epic. That would be explosive. That probably would be the most watched Saturday Night Live episode of the whole season if they got Candace Owens to host an episode of Saturday Night Live or Bridget McCron. And, Conor McGregor would just bring all the ladies because, well, I guess not everybody. Conor McGregor would bring everyone, right? Because everyone likes Conor McGregor. The ladies like him. The ladies like to look at him. Men want to be him because they love UFC and they're like a big fan of UFC fighting, right? So Conor McGregor would be great too, but he wouldn't be as explosive as Candace Owens would be. Like that would be epic. Candace Owens would be like legendary on Saturday Night Live. Like she would roast the cast members of Saturday Night Live. They would, because she's very opinionated. So yeah, I mean Saturday Night Live. I feel like Saturday Night Live too has gone downhill, especially because Saturday Night Live, people saw them a lot recently as so political and not funny. Although I will have to say that they tried to change it. So the last 10 years, they had a period where Saturday Night Live was super political and people got turned off by it. Then Saturday Night Live realized like they're about to be canceled, so they tried to turn it around in the last few years, and they really did to try to bring humor into the jokes and not just make it so political. But I feel like Saturday Night Live, if they really don't pull a home run soon, they might get canceled. Like imagine if Saturday Night Live got canceled. Imagine if The Simpsons got canceled. The Simpsons is epic. I mean, I can't see The Simpsons being canceled, but especially imagine Saturday Night Live. That's been around since the 70s, Saturday Night Live, to get canceled. So Saturday Night Live, they're gonna have to pull in some home runs here. And I think a big home run would be to bring Candace Owens or to bring Bridget McCron because those would be very explosive, entertaining, very entertaining on Saturday Night Live. Or they could do Pam Bondi, but Pam Bondi, I mean, she's probably just gonna act like she did with the Epstein files. Um, I don't know what you're talking about. Saturday Night Live? What Saturday Night Live? Oh, Saturday Night Live is on her desk waiting to be reviewed. Sorry, she can't give you an update yet on Saturday Night. So Pam Bondi would probably just like be like go totally silent like a lawyer on Saturday Night Live. But Candace Owens, she would shake up things on Saturday Night Live. She would ruffle the feathers of the cast members and Bridget McCron would be interesting as well. So I do think that Saturday Night Live, I think that what they're going to have an issue with as well is with retaining quality comedians. Because right now, quality comedians can make more money and get more famous on YouTube than on Saturday Night Live. It's for real. Like, 30 years ago, a comedian dreamed to be on Saturday Night Live. It was the up and all of their career. But now, thanks to YouTube, quality, like professional comedians, like the funniest of the funny, can make more money doing stand up and doing YouTube than being on Saturday Night Live. So, Saturday Night Live is going to have an issue retaining quality comedians. So Saturday Night Live just got to bring the A game Saturday Night Live because if they don't, they might get canceled for real. So especially because of YouTube now, like less people are probably watching television, right? Television has gotten less viewership. More people are watching YouTube videos. So Saturday Night Live, if they don't bring the funny, if they don't bring the edgy, they really could get canceled. We might actually see Saturday Night Live get canceled. So if they were smart, they would bring Candace Owens because she will bring the views. People were going to be like, oh my God, that's going to be a train wreck. Candace Owens on Saturday Night Live. Or even Bridget McCron. Bridget McCron would also be a train wreck on Saturday Night Live. I think Candace Owens means well. I also believe Candace Owens is an entertainer to a degree. But I heard some things that Candace Owens said, which kind of scared me. It's not that she was. What scared me was that she was wrong. It didn't scare. It doesn't scare me when she tells the truth. When she tells the truth, I don't mind when she tells the truth, because even if it's mean, even if it's mean, I don't care when Candace Owens tells the truth. But I don't. Sometimes she says stuff that's wrong. Like, so apparently, and this is what I heard from other people, and then I also saw a video temporarily. Apparently, Candace Owens is very much into Jesus Christ, and apparently Candace Owens doesn't like believe in evolution. She thinks the dinosaurs' bones were fake, the dinosaur remains were fake and put there. She thinks the dinosaurs were fake and everything. So that's kind of concerning. Then she said something about anyways, she said something else I can't say. But basically, Candace Owens. Other than some of her views being kind of kind of scary. I mean, I feel like I would be scared to be in a room with Candace Owens. I kind of get that feeling that she could have me, whacked or something. Because, Candace Owens, she's so powerful now. Like, she's got a million person platform. She's got millions of views. And Candace Owens, she's powerful. And you could just see that the power kind of went to her head a bit because she did that interview with Harvey Weinstein. And Candace Owens, like, her facial expressions were like, I mean, I didn't really get sympathy. I mean, sure enough, she gave him sympathy. But in my opinion, when I saw that interview that Candace Owens did with Harvey Weinstein while he was in prison, in the jail cell, Candace Owens was like, she had the face like the game day face. Like, this is game on. This is going to be great for her YouTube channel. This is going to be wonders for her YouTube channel. Interview with Harvey Weinstein. It didn't seem like, and two, like, imagine she could have actually gone to the prison and visited him in person, which might have, made Harvey Weinstein's day. Obviously, she could not have put that on her YouTube channel because the prison wouldn't let her record. But sometimes it's the little things that people do that show true character. And I don't know, I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. And, maybe Candace Owens really does care about Harvey Weinstein. But then on top of it, I'm also wondering, why does she care about him? I thought he was guilty. I thought Harvey Weinstein was guilty. So if she shows sympathy to Harvey Weinstein, isn't that kind of sick? Because isn't he really guilty? I mean, it's so confusing. America puts all the innocent people in prison. So you can't tell anymore who's really guilty and who's innocent because America puts so many innocent people in prison. Before I saw the interview that Candace Owens did with Harvey Weinstein, I actually thought Harvey Weinstein was guilty. And now Candace Owens is trying to bring a new light to Harvey Weinstein, suggesting he might be innocent or not as guilty as people thought he was. So everything's so confusing. The French president's wife's a man. Harvey Weinstein, the scumbag, I thought he was guilty for all these years. It might be actually innocent. The whole world is confusing. I can't predict anything no more. Heck, who knows? In this kind of world, when anything could happen, maybe tomorrow we'll see Elon Musk broke. Maybe we'll see a broke Elon Musk, the guy who went from like trillions of dollars, trillions and trillions, and still collecting money from people. The guy who went from trillions of dollars, Elon Musk, who knows? Maybe we'll see him broke tomorrow. You see him like working at one of those car washes, and then all the women come out, and then they're all in the bikinis, the women, and then Elon. Anyways, no, but seriously, this is a crazy world. I mean, the French president's wife's a man. Um, Candace Owens is doing an interview with Harvey Weinstein, who I thought was guilty, or maybe he still is. I didn't really watch the full interview. I mean, it kind of got, it kind of creeped me out. Prisons creep me out. They scare me. Prisons are scary. Prisons, I wouldn't, so I kind of didn't watch the whole thing. But if you haven't seen it, you should check it out with Candace Owens and Harvey Weinstein. Definitely very interesting interview. So a guy came in and his name is Vladdy. Like it's a spoof of Vladimir Putin. So guy came in and his name is Vladdy. So he said he has some criticism for me. He said, enough of the BS. Actually get to the point rather than just pulling her down. I'm not really pulling Candace down. I think Candace, her motives are kind of sketchy. I don't know if I can really call her intelligent or not. And I don't really know if I could call her trustworthy or not. She's kind of a wild card, Candace Owens, right now. Because, I mean, she's kind of exposing Trump a little bit, right? With the whole Epstein stuff, the Epstein cover-up. Well, didn't she just say that Trump called her personally to talk to her about Bridget Macron? Saying, hey, Candace, ease up on Bridget Macron. And then Candace is turning around saying that, oh, they got to release the Epstein files. But the person who's preventing the release of the Epstein files is her buddy Trump. So I'm confused. Once again, I'm not claiming to know anything. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm actually a confused viewer, just like the rest of everyone. So explain to me, how come Candace Owens is like, her best buddy seems to be Trump. They're talking, having private phone calls, discussing French politics, discussing the president of France and his wife. Candace Owens is having this conversation with Trump. But then she turns around and she's saying, oh, they got to release the Epstein files. This is a big cover up. But her buddy Trump is the one who's not releasing the Epstein files. So how come she's friends with him when he's not releasing the Epstein files? She should be pissed at him, right? Candace Owens should be pissed at Trump. So, I mean, it's kind of, her motives seem kind of sketchy. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if Candace Owens worked for the CIA, for the Central Intelligence Agency. I wouldn't be surprised if Candace Owens worked for MI6, MI5, British intelligence. I wouldn't be surprised if Candace Owens even worked for CSIS, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service of Canada. So, Candace Owens, she's definitely some kind of operative, in my opinion. In my opinion, she works for some agency. She could even work for China, too, or Russia. Who knows? She could work for the FSB, the Federal Security Service of Russia, the Federalная служба безопасности of Russia. So who knows? Candace Owens, maybe she works for Russia, maybe she works for China, maybe she just works for the US. But she's definitely got an agenda. Like, if you watch Candace Owens' videos, they are very constructive. They are very deliberate. They are very well put together with a very clear emphasis and a point. Candace Owens doesn't usually go off script. In fact, when I go to Candace Owens live streams, maybe I don't watch the full live streams, but I never saw her. Maybe she did, and I just didn't see the full live stream. But I never actually saw Candace Owens take questions from people. Like sometimes I'll even stop to look at the comments. Like, let's see the latest comment. So Callum came in, Callum Scott, and he said, how can you say you are a confused viewer, but before that say she was lying about this, and working for this group or in your group opinion, so you're not confused? No, I'm telling you that I'm saying I definitely think that she works for somebody, because I think that Candace Owens, in my opinion, she has a political agenda. Okay, I think most people would agree with me. I think when you look at Candace Owens and you look at her videos, if you were to think of Candace Owens, you probably political agenda would come to your mind. You know what I'm saying? I do feel like Candace Owens has a very deep, dark political agenda. She is trying to accomplish something in the United States of America. Maybe she's going to run for president. Maybe she wants to take down a party. But it's very clear from watching Candace Owens' videos that she is not a comedian by trade. She's not a dancer. She's not a singer. She is a politician, and she has a political agenda. Now, maybe she's one of the good guys. Maybe she actually has a good political agenda. But what I'm saying is she definitely does have a political agenda. And so when I'm looking at her videos, I am seeing really well put together videos, like really extremely well, deliberately done, like very calculating kind of videos that she puts together, very well done, very researched, she has an agenda, definitely Candace Owens, a political agenda. Like I said, she might be one of the good guys, she might be running for president, she might have a good political agenda, but still, she's a political person. And I don't think anyone would ever classify Candace Owens as a comedian or a dancer, a singer, actress, anything else but a politician. I mean, Candace Owens really is a politician. That is her core. She's not a scientist. I'm a scientist. I consider myself a scientist. I like to make jokes sometimes, like do comedy, but I'm not really a professional comedian. But I'm a scientist. I'm a mathematician. That's what I love. Candace Owens, her raison d'etre. You know, there's a famous French saying, raison d'etre, like, what is your purpose in life? Candace Owens definitely gives off the politician vibes. She is a politician, Candace Owens. So, who knows? Maybe she'll run for president. So, I never really knocked her. I just questioned her motives. I question her motives because she is like going after France, kind of in a way, right? If I did this, okay, if I went after France, if I, went after the French president's wife, if a man, even a homosexual man, if a man went after the French president's wife, people would be like, how dare you? You're a man and you're criticizing a woman. How dare you? Like, they'd be like, mind your own business. This has nothing to do with you. This is French politics. Why are you talking about the French president's wife? This is none of your business, right? Like if a man did the same thing and talked about the French president's wife being a man, like the man would get heavily criticized. Now, Candace Owens, she definitely is getting a little bit of criticism for this, but not as much criticism that a man would get. If a man did this, a man would be canceled. Like a man would be canceled, really. Let's take this for real. Let's really be honest about how we really think what would happen. Okay, because you're welcome to disagree with me. But let's say, okay, let's take a person. Let's take Piers Morgan. Let's take Piers Morgan. If Piers Morgan came out with the accusation, this hypothetical situation, if Piers Morgan came out with the accusation that the French president's wife was a man, do you think that a lot of people would go after Piers Morgan? They'd be like, what are you doing, dude? You're going after this person's wife. You're going after the French president's wife. What happened when Will Smith, what happened when Chris Rock right? Or was it Chris Tucker? No, it was Chris Rock, right? Yeah. What happened when Chris Rock offended Jada Pickett Smith in front of Will Smith, her husband? Will Smith smacked the, bejesus out of Chris Rock on stage. So a man talking crap about another man's wife, like, causes a big reaction. You know what I mean? Most men feel like they have to defend their woman, right? Now, Candace, because it's a woman on woman, because it's woman on woman cat fight, because it's a cat. Well, I don't like saying the term cat fight, but anyways, because it's a woman on woman fight, people are saying it's like fair game, right? But like, yeah, if Pierce Morgan, a man, made these comments about the French president's wife, people would be reacting much more harshly to him because he's a man making these comments. And that's just the truth. There are double standards, and there's double standards for women too. Sometimes men get the shorter end of the stick, and sometimes women have the longer end of the. I tried to ad lib there. I almost did an improv joke, but you know what I'm saying. So obviously there are double standards. It's not fair. There's double standards for women. There's double standards for men. But you must admit that, and it's pretty obvious that, like, look what happened to Chris Rock when he talked crap about Jada Pickett Smith in front of her husband, Will Smith, right? Look what happened. So that's what I'm saying. It's different when a man's doing it than a woman. Heck, actually, yeah, Will Smith. Will Smith would also be good on Saturday Night Live. Yeah, Will Smith, especially if they did, or maybe they did already do the parody, because that was a few years ago now, is it? Yeah, I think Will Smith slapped Chris Rock a few years ago, actually. So it's probably now they probably forgot about that one, but Will Smith would be funny on Saturday Night Live too. Will Smith actually could be the musical guest because he has a new song, Pretty Girls. He talks about pretty girls. So Will Smith could go on Saturday Night Live with his new song. So that's what I'm saying. If a man had said the same stuff, like this person came in, his name is C Note, and he said, "Nah, Will was in the right." Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. If a man offends another man's wife, them that's fighting words. Them's fighting words, right? It's different, right? But if a woman does it, so Candace is kind of getting more leeway because she's female, right? I think personally, I think that Candace Owens, I think she means well. She really does. I think she doesn't really want to see riots. She doesn't want to see people looting. She doesn't want to see, people go into dangerous situations. But I do think Candace Owens, she does kind of judge people a lot harshly, too much of it, and she assumes things sometimes. She does assume things. But in my opinion, I also do the same stuff. I also kind of judge people and I assume things because, I have been beat up, I have been bullied, I have been attacked. And when you are a victim for so many years, you are very cautious and not trustworthy of people anymore. I don't trust people. I don't trust people at all. And a lot of times, I don't really have any friends. I really don't. The people the closest friends I have are just people on YouTube that I talk with. So I don't actually, other than my job where I go to the bookstore, I don't really socialize with people. I don't go to parties. I don't have birthday parties. I'm not married. I kind of really have no life. I have no wife. I have no life. I have, I have no friends. I do not have no friends no there. I do not have no friends no anywhere. I kind of a loser and a loner. So Candace Owens, she's really lucky because she has a family. She has a gorgeous husband, Candace Owens. Candace Owens she really has everything. She has the money, she has the successful job, she has the YouTube career. I mean, Candace Owens is on the top of the world right now, so I'm actually really happy for her. I'm happy that she's happy. But there's something that I see in her, and it's almost as if she's still not 100% happy. So there's something bothering her, But I really hope Candace Owens just takes a day. It's interesting because the other day I was watching Martha Stewart and she did this whole episode on roses, right? Sometimes you gotta stop and smell the roses. Sometimes you gotta stop and really like appreciate what you have in life, right? So Candace Owens, like I hope she doesn't like kick herself or get down when she doesn't get as many YouTube views or when maybe she gets criticized or she gets sued, right? Candace Owens needs to realize I hope she realizes that she's really lucky because she has a family, she's got a job, she's got money, she's got like a kind of a YouTube fame going on. She's kind of lucky, Candace Owens. I hope she really appreciates that. Like there's a lot of people like me. We don't have families. We're single. We're losers. We don't have like the money. We don't have like the big job. I just have a part-time job. I work at a bookstore, but I'm not some big famous star like Candace Owens is. So yeah. So Callum Scott came in and he said, "Thank you, Callum." He said, "You don't trust anyone either." Yeah, yeah. I don't trust people, especially finding out that the French president's wife's a man. That would be total betrayal. And I was saying this the other day. We can't actually even know for sure. It's very possible that the French president didn't know she was a man at first. It's very possible that the French president didn't know at first that his wife was a man. Obviously, he would have found out later. He probably did find out later. I wonder if he really knew that she was a man. It's very possible that he didn't know that she was a man. It's possible. And then he found out later. And then by the time he found out, it was too late to go back, if you know what I mean. So that is a question that I really would like Candace Owens to answer. Candace Owens, if you're listening to a loser like me, which you're not, I know you're not, but Candace Owens, you should totally do a whole video questioning whether the French president knew his wife was a man at first. Obviously, he knows now. Obviously, he found out later. But it's very possible that he didn't even know at first that she was a man. So, Candace Owens, I really hope you do a whole video on this because this is a big issue for men. Men who are deceived by men who pretend to be women, right? Men who are deceived, men who are lied to, men who are cheated on. Men are often the victims a lot, but men don't talk about it as much. Men don't report it. Men don't as much. Men don't, like some men do, right? Obviously some men do, but definitely women, as soon as women become a victim, victim, like women scream it from the rooftops, right? But when men become victims, they don't usually say it as much. They kind of, they hide stuff in, they bottle stuff inside, men. So Candace Owens, you know, I kind of hope that you kind of consider the fact that maybe the French president is a victim, right? Because and she said it herself that he is much younger than his wife. So Candace Owens, why don't you do a video where you kind of say, obviously it's sick and it's wrong, but still, if the French president really is a victim in all of this, maybe you should do a whole video exploring that topic, saying maybe the French president didn't actually know that she was a man. It's very possible. And I think Candace Owens, that would make a great video. I really hope you do a video like that because a lot of times men are the victims. And Candace Owens, if you really want to come out looking like a hero, they don't do a lot of male victim stories, Usually, I would say 75% of the time it's a female victim story and 25% of the time it's a male victim story. We don't see as many male victim stories as much as we see women victim stories. So Candace Owens, why don't you do a male victim story? Or like, I'm not saying we don't know for sure. This is something, Candace Owens, you need to figure out. You need to figure out if he was a victim in all of this, if he even knew that she was a man. So Candace Owens, that would make a great video. You should do a whole video and exploring the topic of French President Emmanuel Macron. Is he a victim in all this? Was he deceived by her? Was he lied to? He was slapped. Clearly, we just saw that French President Emmanuel Macron was slapped by her on the plane. The French president's wife slapped Emmanuel Macron. Very interested to know why she slapped him, or he slapped him, whatever. Very interested to know why the French president's wife, man, whatever she is, why he slapped French President Emmanuel Macron. That's interesting. So I would really, I wish that they would ask him. I wonder, did a French reporter ask him? They must have asked him, the French media. They must have said, hey, why did your wife slap you on the plane? They must have asked him. What did he say? What was his response? How did he answer why his wife slapped him on the plane? I'm really interested to hear the response there. Does anybody know in the live stream, why did the French president's wife slap Emmanuel Macron on the plane? Does anyone know why she slapped him? Did they say? But I have some horror stories when it comes to social situations. So one time I was in a Starbucks, and this is not a promotion for Starbucks. I mean, this is not like an ad for Starbucks. But anyways, one time I was in a Starbucks. I was with a guy, and I was very closeted. I was a scientist, mathematician, and I like to make friends with people. Women too. I make friends with women. I like make friends with men. And if I'm going to have a relationship, I'm going to have first a friendship with someone, a friendship with a man. And so I was in a Starbucks. This was in college. I was in college, and I was having like a Starbucks drink. No, I wasn't sharing it with the guy. Obviously, I had my own drink. He had his own drink. But we were in Starbucks having coffee, discussing college life, everything. A woman from college that I know from college comes in. She obviously doesn't like me. And she comes over to me and him in the middle of this whole Starbucks. And she says to him, she says, you know he's gay, right? About me. And like the one thing to like destroy a buddy friendship between two men, the one thing that you could say to destroy a friendship between two straight guys, allegedly straight guys, I was closeted, so like I don't go screaming it off the rooftops like that I'm homosexual. I was very closeted. I was in college, and I was closeted in college. It's easier to go through college when you're closeted, and at least for me. And she walks over and she says, like, I'm having coffee with this guy who is an attractive guy, but we were friends, and it was about college, and we were having coffee about college and talking about college. We were in a same group assignment together in college, we were in a class together. And this woman comes over, homophobic woman from the college that I was at, and she says in front of the whole Starbucks, in front of the guy, in front of me, she says, he's gay, right? And what an awkward conversation. It became so awkward after he became almost disgusted, like as if this was some ploy for me to go after straight guys, as if I like pursue straight guys, as if I pretend to be straight on purpose to lure straight guys. Like, this was so colluded. It was so sick what this woman, how she actually, with the narrative, the narrative that she tried to spin, as if I was like pretending to be straight and just to make friends with this straight guy, to like as if I'm trying to like get with him, which that wasn't the case at all. I liked him as a friend. We were friends, and we were in the same college class together, and we were having coffee at Starbucks, and we were discussing science, mathematics. We were discussing the college program. We weren't talking about gay stuff, okay? So we were just talking like two buddies, like two straight guys, like having a conversation. And this woman comes in, and she didn't even really know for sure if I was gay. I never really said to her that I was gay. She asked me in college, and I refused to answer. And refusing to answer is kind of like an indication that maybe that person's a homosexual, right? Because I didn't want to lie, but I just said, I'm not answering that question. That's an offensive question. I'm not answering it. She asked me, this woman in college, she came up to me. She asked me, are you gay? I said, whoa, this is a college program. This is a professional college program. I'm not going to answer that question. That's a personal question. And, I very well could be straight. I could be gay. I could be straight, but I'm not going to answer that question because that's a very personal question. And I don't feel comfortable answering that question. And then she took it as a signal, a sign that I might be a homosexual. Because, I guess a lot of straight guys would just say, yeah, I'm straight. Of course I'm straight. Like most guys, most straight guys, they would just say, like, flat out, especially when they're straight, they would say, of course I'm straight. I'm straight. I love. So I guess the way I answered it kind of was like a response, like, but I didn't want to lie and to say I was straight. So I just said, I don't feel comfortable answering that question. I'm sorry. There probably are straight guys though that would get asked that question and wouldn't feel comfortable answering either. You know, there probably are, because it could have led to something like, what if the guy didn't like her? What if she was using this as a way to hit on the guy, like to confirm that he's straight so that she could then go out with him, right? So what if there was a situation where there were straight guys who just weren't interested in her, and she asked them whether they're gay or straight, and they didn't want to answer because it almost seemed as if it was going to turn into some sort of dating situation. So I just said, no, I don't feel comfortable answering. But that kind of gave it away, right? And so then when I was in the Starbucks having a conversation with this guy, the male friend, she comes in and embarrasses me, embarrasses the guy, embarrasses probably Starbucks. The baristas were probably embarrassed. And this woman says, he's gay, right? In front of me and him. So it was pretty traumatic what had happened, but, life goes on.